this journey you've been on, I think what so many people would think is significant. We want to know more about you, about the person, the author, but you have a lead role in. I haven't seen many Broadway plays, but I saw this one in New York.
Come on.
And you have a lead role of Simba in The Lion King, and you're playing that in the national tour, right, of North America.
Yeah, honestly, I just got finished 5 weeks ago.
Let's talk about it.
So I joined the tour in 2019. I was in the ensemble understudying Simba. Did that for a couple months. I actually tore my meniscus and ended up leaving the tour, repairing it. And while I was repairing it, the pandemic hit and came back after the pandemic and came back as Simba full time. So I've been doing that for the past 3 years. I finished September 22nd in Greenville, South Carolina. After I finished that, got a little time to hang out with the family. I figured, why not just release a book? And so that's what I've been doing a worship tour, and then post-worship tour, doing conferences and releasing the book.
What, after this book, we're going to talk about a lot of this, but what happens next? Is there a plan?
The giant plan, the end goal is an EGOT, Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony. That's the world that I'm going for and the world that I'm in right now. Most people are like, oh man, that's everybody wants that. I'm like, yeah, everybody does. However, are people doing the things that are aligning to put them in steps and goals to get there?
Do you have that plan?
I mean, we're working on it. Absolutely.
Does it come one at a time, or do you see how they need to link up as well?
It can come one at a time, but also if I'm in a new Broadway show and I get a Tony for a Broadway show and they ended up getting a Grammy for that same Tony show, two can happen in the same bit. Same aspect if I'm in a movie. Happen to be in a movie that's starring myself, maybe my book, and all of a sudden now I'm singing in this movie and that movie gets a Grammy. So I'm getting all the things that come along with that as well.
So why is the EGOT, why is that a goal?
I would say it comes from a lot of different things. One, there's only, I believe, 21 people. I think Elton John is the most recent EGOT winner. There's something about it for me that just says in all of these different fields, people are recognizing you for the greatness that you are putting out. Also, the reality for me is this world has never been a world that I've been a part of. The world that I started with was wanting to be a high school band director. And this was never a dream, never a goal, never an aspiration. So when it became a reality and that eventually became a dream, and now I'm living that dream, it's like, all right, now if I'm living this dream, what can be next? Like, what is possible? Well, an EGOT's possible. All right, so let's put the EGOT as the goal and let's go for that. Once the EGOT has been gotten, then what? We'll figure that out once we get there.
How long do you think it's going to take you to get there?
I have a goal to be one of the first 50 people to get an EGOT. We're sitting at 21 right now, so you never know. It could be next year, or it could be a couple of years down the road.
However long it takes, you continue on the path, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm open-handed. So honestly, in the journey that I've been living, my wife and I, from the moment we got married up until taking a worship pastor job to having a child to doing Broadway, it's always been open-handed. It's like, God, where do you want us? Where do you need us? Where are you calling us? Close the doors that are not of you. And if they're open, that means you want us to choose the desires of our heart. Whether it's one door, whether it's 5 doors, however that be, if the options are there, if you've already closed the doors that are not of you, then you're just allowing us to choose. So what would that be?
Where does you taking action and taking responsibility fall in there too? Because a lot of people say things like that and rest on it, and they wake up when they're not taking action like, well, I guess it just wasn't meant to be.
Not by any means. So my whole thought process and my whole life has been, I have been given a God-given talent. It's always been in leadership. That's a reality. I've always been put in leadership positions, not from me trying to do it, me wanting to do it, but other people placing me there, or I turn around and somebody's following me. And I'm like, all right, I guess I'm leading the charge here. And so realizing and understanding the things that have been given to you, and then taking those by the horns and saying, okay, now I can't just rest on what's been given to me. Now I have to do something with it. I've been given the ability to move well, and I have this natural musical ability. All right, so I'm in a Broadway show. What does that mean now? That doesn't mean anything. It means I have to keep working on the craft. So I still take singing lessons once a week. I take acting lessons every Monday. I take dance classes in the cities that I'm in or in the city that I'm in right now. And it's me honing in the skill, because just like I talk about and walk through when I do marriage counseling, if you're not working on your marriage, you're working on divorce. That's the reality. If I'm not working on getting my craft better, someone else is getting better than me. So if I'm not working on improving and honing in that skill, I'm working on that skill deteriorating.
Where did this responsibility come from? That you have a responsibility that if you're given a talent that you should fulfill the capability?
I would say I've probably always I grew up in a household that we were all amongst the leaders. I guess we were all leaders in our own rights, in our own seasons. I'm one of 8 kids. And so through the years, the name, our family name, has always carried weight with it. And so making sure that I'm upholding to that family name, and then realizing and understanding I'm my own man and I'm my own person. And so because of that, I have to have my own convictions and my own desires and thoughts and responsibility for that. And so taking charge of my life and understanding the things that have been given to me weren't given to my other siblings. Yes, we have things that we do in common and are alike, but the reality is this is the responsibility that's been given to me. How am I going to steward that? And then with my faith, that's walking forward with that as well. Like, God's given me an amazing ability and gift in a lot of different ways. And even with my smile, I know that me walking into a room in my presence changes people's personality, and it changes some people's hearts and some people's days. It makes it just better. I walk into a room and I smile and they look at me and they're like, man, I don't know what it is about you, but there's just something that has shifted right now. And I'm like, cool.
How long have you been aware of that?
It's probably since I got saved and baptized in 2006. That was kind of the first shift that happened. I didn't really realize what was going on and understand that's what I brought to the table. But it wasn't until about a year or two into leading worship and just understanding the calling of my life to just spread the good news of Jesus, which is joy and love. And it wasn't until there was one situation. I was at church and I was singing worship, and this lady came and found me and she said, hey, I really need you to meet my mother. I was like, okay, cool. So I go down and I meet her mother. Her mother's blind. And she grabs me by the hand and she grabs my face and she says, hey, I just need you to know I have hated coming into church because it's so loud. It is so it's just not what I want, but I still come. She said, but there was something about today, you singing, it just gave me this peace and this calm. And for the first time, I could see clearly, and I felt calm. And at that moment, I was like, oh man, I'm shifting some rooms. I don't realize that I'm shifting rooms, but the Holy Spirit working in me and through me. Now, I walk through that and I also say, I am not a perfect person.
Here's the humility. Here it comes.
No, but it's just the reality. There are things that I don't do well. There are people that don't like me, and I get it and understand, and I don't have
what do you do with that?
A phenomenal day all the time. That's a reality. I'm human. I may be trying to live a life that is pleasing to God and as close as I can to the calling that He's laid on my heart and in my life, but I don't get everything right 100% of the time.
What do you do when you don't get it right? Because that's where so many people get caught up in life. It really is. That's depression. That's anxiety, worried about the judgment of others, negative self-talk.
Yeah.
What do you do with that?
One, it's my community. I have a solid community. I have an amazing wife who truly is part of why I can do what I do. She keeps me grounded. She keeps me rooted. But also in those moments, in those times that I'm beating myself up, she's like, all right, babe, let's talk about this. I have friends that are in my world that are some of the most encouraging people. And in the sense of not always, I can walk into a room and start singing. People are like, man, you have a voice like an angel. I'm not saying just the surface level of encouragement. I'm saying, man, the way that you loved on that old lady and holding that door, the way that you offered to pay for this guy's groceries so that he didn't have to go back to his car to get his card, and he's a veteran, and this just random things, and not for accolades or not for anything like that. It's them seeing and living and doing life with me and seeing all these small moments and being able to speak into that, encouraging me in those moments. But also in the same aspect, when my mind and when my head gets too big for myself and I start to get all this excitement about this, and this, they're like, Hold on one second, chump. Let me rein it back in real quick. Let me remind you how stupid you are real quick. Hold on.
We see the deficiencies.
Bring it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And quick to point it out. But I would say the thing that I probably appreciate more than anything, and this is where I feel like a lot of people, they don't have it. And for whatever reason, whether it's they feel insecure or whether they don't have those real relationships to have, I love my friend group and I love my circle because I can go to them with anything. And when I say anything, I mean, hey, I'm going to talk on this podcast and I'm really hyped about it. Not in a boastful way, not in a, hey, look at me, look what I'm doing. But you have those friend groups or you have those people that you go say that to and they're like, look at you, always trying to talk about the things that you're doing, always doing this and doing that. Like, gosh, we know you're going on another podcast. We know you're singing at the Lakers game again. We know you're doing this. Like you see the highlight reel that people want you to see, but that's maybe 1/10 of what I do in my life that I post on Instagram or social media.